The rain hammered against the windows of the Sterling Hotel in downtown Manhattan as Emma Hartley rushed through the staff entrance. She was already 15 minutes late, and her supervisor hated tardiness. At 24, Emma had mastered the art of juggling her final year of architecture school with her part-time job serving at high-end events. The money was essential for keeping her tiny Brooklyn apartment and finishing her degree.
You're late again.
Olivia whispered as Emma changed into her crisp white shirt and black pants in the cramped staff room. Olivia had been working these events for 3 years and had become Emma's closest friend in the chaotic world of Manhattan's elite gatherings. Subway delays, Emma replied, tying her dark hair into a neat bun. What's tonight's event? Tech industry charity auction. Lots of billionaires and their egos. Olivia applied another coat of neutral lipstick. Should be interesting. Just keep your head down and smile. The ballroom had been transformed into an elegant wonderland. Crystal chandeliers cast dancing lights across tables draped in ivory silk. Enormous flower arrangements perfumed the air with roses and lilies. Emma took her position near the bar, ready to circulate with trays of champagne and appetizers. As the guests arrived, Emma observed the familiar patterns. Designer gowns, tailored tuxedos, conversations about vacation homes and stock portfolios. This was a world she served but would never belong to. She had made peace with that reality years ago. The collision everything changed at 8-30. Emma was carrying a tray of lobster canapes when a guest at table 7 stood abruptly, backing directly into her path. Time seemed to slow as the tray tilted dangerously. Hot sauce splashed across her hand, burning her skin. She gasped, struggling to maintain balance and prevent the entire tray from crashing to the floor. Then a firm hand caught her elbow, steadying her instantly. Another hand grabbed the tray before it could tip completely. Are you all right? That sauce is scalding. Emma looked up into the most striking gray eyes she had ever seen. The man was tall, probably in his mid-30s, with dark hair and a strong jaw. He wore an impeccably tailored charcoal suit, but what struck her most was the genuine concern in his expression. I'm fine, she managed, though her hand throbbed painfully. Thank you. He was already reaching for a cloth napkin, gently wiping the sauce from her reddened skin. That needs cold water immediately. Come on, sir. I can't leave my station, Emma protested, though the burning sensation was intensifying. Yes, you can. Medical emergency. He guided her toward the kitchen entrance, his hand still supporting her elbow. Once in the kitchen, he ran cold water over her hand himself, his touch surprisingly gentle. I'm Nathan, he said as the cool water soothed her burn. And you are? Emma. Emma Hartley. She was acutely aware of how close he stood. The subtle scent of his cologne. The way his gray eyes studied her face, rather than dismissing her as staff. Emma Hartley? That could have been much worse. Do you need medical attention? No, this is fine, really. She withdrew her hand reluctantly. I should get back to work. Thank you for your help, mister. Just Nathan is fine. He smiled, and it transformed his serious face into something warm and approachable. Be careful out there. The proposition Emma returned to the ballroom, her mind spinning. She had served hundreds of wealthy guests over the past 2 years, but none had treated her with such genuine kindness. Most barely acknowledged her existence. Yet Nathan had not only helped her, but seemed to actually see her as a person. Throughout the rest of the evening, she felt his eyes on her. Not in a creepy or inappropriate way, but with an attentiveness that made her hyper-aware of every movement. When she refilled water glasses at his table, he thanked her quietly. When she cleared his plate, their eyes met for a brief, electric moment. The event ended near midnight. Emma was exhausted as she changed back into her street clothes, looking forward to the subway ride home and collapsing into bed. She had an early class and a thesis meeting in the morning, Emma Hartley. The event coordinator, Mrs. Reynolds, appeared at her locker. Can you come to my office for a moment? Emma's stomach dropped. Had she done something wrong? Was this about being late? Mrs. Reynolds closed the office door and sat behind her desk. I received an unusual request tonight. One of the guests specifically asked for you to work a private dinner party at his residence next Saturday. The pay is triple your normal rate. Emma blinked. Who requested me? Nathan Cross, the CEO of Crosstech Solutions. Mrs. Reynolds studied her carefully. Do you know him? Nathan Cross. The name clicked into place. She had heard Olivia mention him before. A self-made billionaire who had revolutionized cloud computing technology. Forbes had called him one of the most influential tech leaders under 40. He helped me when I almost dropped a tray, Emma said slowly. But why would he specifically request me? That's what I'd like to know. Mrs. Reynolds folded her hands. This is highly irregular, Emma. I need to be sure you're comfortable with this arrangement. It's a private residence, not a public venue. Emma's mind raced. Triple pay would cover her rent for the month and leave money for art supplies. She desperately needed for her final project. But something about this felt strange, almost too good to be true. What kind of event is it? A small dinner party, 12 guests. You would be one of 2 servers, along with professional catering staff, all very proper and supervised. Mrs. Reynolds pulled out a contract. If you accept, you'll need to sign this confidentiality agreement. Many of our clients require discretion. Emma thought about her overdue electric bill, the textbooks she still needed to buy, the mounting pressure of her final semester. And beneath all those practical concerns was something else, a curiosity about Nathan Cross and why he had singled her out.
I'll do it,
She said before she could overthink the decision. The private dinner the following Saturday? Emma stood outside a sleek glass tower in Tribeca, one of Manhattan's most exclusive neighborhoods. Nathan's penthouse occupied the entire top floor. As the private elevator carried her upward, her heart hammered against her ribs. The doors opened directly into a stunning space. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered panoramic views of the city. Modern art hung on walls of exposed brick and white plaster. The furniture was minimalist, but clearly expensive. All clean lines and quality craftsmanship. You must be Emma. An elegant woman in her 50s approached with a warm smile. I'm Helen, Mr. Cross's housekeeper. Welcome. Let me show you around. The kitchen was a chef's dream, all stainless steel and marble countertops. 2 chefs were already preparing an elaborate menu. Another server, a young man named David, was setting up the dining area on the terrace. Mr. Cross likes to entertain outdoors when weather permits, Helen explained. Tonight is business associates, so everything must be perfect. But he's very kind, not demanding like some employers I've had. Emma spent the next hour helping arrange the terrace. White lights were strung overhead, creating an intimate atmosphere under the darkening sky. The table settings were elegant but not ostentatious. Fresh flowers centerpieces added subtle color and fragrance. At 7:30, the guests began arriving. Emma slipped into her professional mode, serving cocktails and appetizers with practiced efficiency. The conversation was all business, mergers and acquisitions, market trends, investment strategies. And then Nathan appeared. He wore dark slacks and a crisp white shirt, sleeves rolled to his elbows. Less formal than at the charity gala, but somehow more magnetic. When his eyes found Emma, his entire face brightened. Good evening, he said, accepting a glass of wine from her tray. Up close, she noticed the fine lines around his eyes, the slight shadow of stubble on his jaw. I'm glad you agreed to work tonight. Good evening, Mr. Cross. Emma maintained her professional tone, though her pulse quickened. Nathan, he corrected gently. Please. Throughout the dinner service, Emma was acutely aware of him, the way he listened intently when others spoke, his occasional quiet laughter, how he thanked her each time she refilled his glass or cleared a plate. He was attentive to his guests, but somehow still seemed focused on her. Near the end of the evening, as the guests enjoyed dessert and coffee in the living room, Helen dismissed Emma and David to clean the kitchen. The chefs had already departed. That was the smoothest event I've worked in months, David commented as they loaded the dishwasher. Usually these business dinners are tense, but Mr. Cross knows how to keep things relaxed. Emma nodded, her mind elsewhere. In a few minutes, she would leave and probably never see Nathan Cross again. This would become just another story, the time she worked for a billionaire. Nothing more, Emma. She turned to find Nathan standing in the kitchen doorway, hands in his pockets. He looked nervous, which seemed impossible for someone so successful and confident. "Could I speak with you privately?" "Just for a moment." Helen gave Emma an encouraging nod. Heart pounding, Emma followed Nathan down a hallway to a library lined with books. A fireplace crackled softly, casting warm light across leather chairs and a massive wooden desk. Nathan closed the door, but maintained a respectful distance. "I know this is unconventional," he began, running a hand through his hair, "and maybe completely inappropriate. But I can't stop thinking about our encounter at the gala." Emma's breath caught. "Mr. Cross." "Nathan." He stepped closer, his gray eyes intense. "When you looked at me that night, you didn't see my bank account or my company. You saw a person. Do you know how rare that is in my world?" "I was just doing my job," Emma whispered. "No, it was more than that. I've met thousands of people, Emma. Most want something from my money, connections, opportunities. But you were just trying to do your work with dignity and grace." That intrigued me. He paused, seeming to gather courage. "I'd like to get to know you better. Outside of work, just as two people, no employers or employees, would you consider having coffee with me?" Emma's mind spun. This couldn't be real. Men like Nathan Cross didn't ask women like her out on dates. They existed in completely different universes. Why me? The question escaped before she could stop it, because when I talk to people in my circle, everything feels transactional. Every conversation has an angle. But you, I think you might actually be real. He pulled a simple business card from his pocket. Just a name and phone number. No pressure. Think about it. If you decide you're interested, send me a message. If not, I'll understand and respect your decision. Emma took the card with trembling fingers. "I need time to think, of course." His smile was gentle, understanding. "Thank you for tonight, Emma. You were exceptional." As the elevator carried her back down to street level, Emma stared at the card in her hand. Nathan Cross's private number. An invitation that could change everything or lead to heartbreak. She had no idea what to do. One thing was certain. Her carefully ordered life had just become infinitely more complicated. Emma. We spent 3 sleepless nights staring at Nathan's business card. She confided only in Grace, her roommate and closest friend, who studied medicine and worked night shifts at a hospital. "Let me get this straight," Grace said, sitting cross-legged on Emma's bed. "A billionaire tech CEO wants to take you on a date, and you're hesitating why exactly?" "Because it doesn't make sense," Emma replied, pacing their small bedroom. "We're from completely different worlds. He probably meets hundreds of beautiful, accomplished women. Why would he be interested in someone like me? Maybe because you're smart, driven, and don't treat him like a walking ATM?" Grace raised an eyebrow. "Emma, you've spent 4 years focused entirely on school and work. You've never even had a serious relationship. Maybe it's time to take a chance." Emma thought about her life. At 24, she had sacrificed social experiences for academic success. While her classmates dated and partied, she studied and worked. She had convinced herself there would be time for romance after graduation, after she established her career. But what if that time never came? What if she was always too busy, too cautious, too afraid? On the 4th morning, Emma typed a message, "Hi, Nathan. This is Emma. I'd like to have that coffee if the offer still stands." His response came within minutes. "I'm glad. How about Wednesday at 3 p.m.? There's a quiet cafe in Greenwich Village. I'll send the address." First date, the cafe was tucked away on a tree-lined street, the kind of place that valued atmosphere over Instagram aesthetics. Exposed brick walls, mismatched vintage furniture, and the rich aroma of freshly ground coffee beans. Emma arrived 10 minutes early, wearing a simple navy dress and her favorite denim jacket. She chose a corner table by the window. Nathan appeared exactly at 3. He wore jeans and a plain gray sweater, looking more like a graduate student than a billionaire CEO. When he spotted her, his face lit up with a smile that made her stomach flutter. "You came," he said, sliding into the seat across from her. "Did you think I wouldn't?" "I wasn't sure." He ordered 2 coffees from the server. "I know this situation is unusual. I wouldn't blame you for thinking it was too strange." The conversation flowed easily. Nathan asked about her architecture studies, genuinely interested in her thesis on sustainable urban housing. Emma found herself explaining her passion for designing spaces that improve people's lives, particularly affordable housing that didn't sacrifice beauty or dignity. Most people assume architecture is about making statement buildings, she said, warming to her subject. But I think it's about creating homes where families can thrive, communities where people feel connected. That's beautiful, Nathan said softly. Most people in my world are focused on profit margins and market share. It's refreshing to hear someone talk about making a real difference. What about you? Emma asked. Everyone knows you're a successful CEO, but who is Nathan beyond the headlines? Something shifted in his expression. Vulnerability flickered across his features. Honestly, sometimes I'm not sure anymore. I built CrossTech from nothing with my business partner. We worked 18-hour days in a cramped office, surviving on pizza and ambition. Then we succeeded beyond our wildest dreams. He paused, stirring his coffee absently. But success came with a price. Suddenly, everyone wanted something from me. Business deals, investments, invitations to exclusive events. I realized I was surrounded by people, but completely alone. That sounds incredibly lonely, Emma said quietly. It is. His gray eyes met hers. That's why meeting you felt different. You treated me like a normal person. Do you know how valuable that is? They talked for 3 hours. The cafe gradually emptied around them, but neither noticed. Emma learned Nathan grew up in a middle-class family in Boston, that his parents were skeptical about his tech ambitions, that he loved old movies and terrible puns. Nathan discovered Emma was the first in her family to attend college, that her father worked in construction and her mother was a teacher, that she had a secret love for classic jazz music. When they finally left the cafe, the sun was setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink. Can I walk you to the subway? Nathan asked. They strolled through Greenwich Village, past charming brownstones and artistic shop windows. The conversation continued effortlessly, punctuated by comfortable silences. At the subway entrance, Nathan stopped. I'd really like to see you again, he said. If you're interested? Emma's heart raced. I'm interested, he smiled, and the warmth in his expression made her feel brave enough to step closer. Good, because I haven't enjoyed an afternoon this much in years. The secret relationship over the following weeks, Emma and Nathan developed a pattern. They met in quiet, out-of-the-way places where Nathan was unlikely to be recognized. Small bookstores in Brooklyn, art galleries in Chelsea, late-night diners in Queens. They were building something real, away from cameras and gossip. Emma's thesis work flourished. Having someone genuinely interested in her ideas gave her new confidence. Nathan offered insights from his business perspective that enriched her designs. He never talked down to her or tried to take over her projects. Instead, he asked thoughtful questions that helped her think more deeply. Their physical relationship progressed slowly. A held hand on their third meeting, a tentative kiss goodnight after their fifth. Each touch felt momentous to Emma, who had never experienced this intensity of feeling before. But she carried a secret that grew heavier with each passing day. Emma had never been intimate with anyone, not because of moral reasons or lack of opportunity, but because she had always been too focused, too busy, too careful. Now, at 24, she felt her inexperience like a weight. How could she tell Nathan? Would he think she was immature? Weird? Would it change how he saw her? The exposure, everything shattered on a Tuesday morning in early Nil. November. Emma was in her studio architecture class when her phone started buzzing incessantly. Text messages flooded in from classmates, friends, even distant acquaintances. Confused, she checked her phone during the break. Her stomach dropped. A gossip website had published photos of her and Nathan, leaving a restaurant in the West Village. The headline read, "Tech billionaire Nathan crosses mystery woman. Who is she?" The article speculated about her identity, calling her a simple waitress who had captured the attention of one of Manhattan's most eligible bachelors. Within hours, more articles appeared. Someone had identified her, found her social media, posted photos from her college days. The comment section was brutal. Gold digger. What does he see in her? She's probably pregnant, trapping him. We'll get bored and trade up soon. Emma felt physically ill. She left class early, ignoring calls from Nathan, and went straight home. Grace found her that evening sitting on the bathroom floor, crying. "They're tearing me apart," Emma whispered. "People I've never met, saying horrible things about me." Grace sat beside her on the cold tile. "This is what happens when you date someone famous. The spotlight is harsh, and people are cruel. But Emma, you can't let anonymous strangers define you or your relationship." Emma's phone rang again. This time, it was her mother calling from Connecticut. With dread, Emma answered. "Emma, what is this I'm seeing online?" Her mother's voice was sharp with worry. "Articles about you and some billionaire. Is this true?" "Mom, I can explain you're dating a man worth billions." "Emma, what are you thinking? Men like that don't have serious relationships with girls from families like ours. They use women and move on. I didn't raise you to be someone's plaything. It's not like that." Emma's voice cracked. "Nathan isn't like that. He respects me. He cares about me. He's 35 years old, Emma. Successful, wealthy, from a completely different world. What could you possibly have in common? And what happens when he gets bored? You'll be left heartbroken with your name and face all over the internet." The call ended badly, with her mother demanding Emma end the relationship immediately, and Emma refusing. She felt torn between the life she had carefully built and these new, overwhelming feelings for Nathan. Nathan finally reached her that night. "Emma, please let me come over. We need to talk about this," she said firmly. "Your world just invaded mine, Nathan. I can't deal with you right now." The conversation, but Nathan was persistent. The next evening, he appeared at her building, convincing the doorman to let him wait in the lobby. When Emma came home from the library, exhausted and emotionally drained, he was there. "You can't just show up here," she said, though her resolve weakened seeing the worry in his eyes. "I know. I'm sorry, but you won't answer my calls, and I'm going crazy worrying about you." He stood, approaching carefully. "Please, Emma, just give me 10 minutes. They went to a small park across the street. Sitting on a bench under the glow of street lights, Nathan took her hand. "I'm so sorry this happened," he said. "I knew dating me came with risks, but I wanted to protect you from this as long as possible. I should have prepared you better." "How do you prepare someone for public humiliation?" Emma pulled her hand away. "Nathan, they're calling me a gold digger. They're saying I'm trying to trap you. They've found photos of my family, my childhood home. My mother thinks I'm ruining my life. Your mother is worried because she loves you. That's understandable." Nathan's voice was gentle. "But Emma, you're not ruining your life. You're living it. And yes, dating me comes with challenges, but we can handle them together, can we?" Emma turned to face him. "Be honest with me, Nathan. Have you had other relationships? Other women?" He nodded slowly. "Yes. I was married briefly 5 years ago. It lasted 8 months before she left, when she realized I wasn't going to fund her expensive lifestyle indefinitely. After that, I dated casually but never seriously. Everyone seemed to want something from me, connections, money, status. Until you. What if I'm just different enough to be interesting for a while?" Emma's voice was small. "What if this is just a phase, and eventually you'll realize we don't fit?" Nathan cupped her face gently. "What if this is real, and we let fear destroy it?" "Emma, I'm falling in love with you. Not the idea of you, not some fantasy, but you. The woman who's passionate about sustainable housing and gets excited about brick patterns. The woman who works 2 jobs to pay for school and still finds time to help her friends. That's who I'm falling for." The words hung in the air between them. Emma felt tears streaming down her face. "I'm scared," she whispered. "Me too." He pulled her into his arms. "Love is terrifying. But I'd rather be terrified with you than safe and alone without you." They held each other as the city moved around them. Emma breathed in his familiar scent, felt his heartbeat against her cheek. She realized Grace was right. She had spent years being careful, making safe choices. Maybe it was time to take a risk. "I'm falling in love with you too," she said against his chest. even though it terrifies me. The sister a week later, Emma was working an event at a hotel in Midtown when a well-dressed woman approached her during her break. Emma Hartley. The woman extended her hand. I'm Rebecca Cross, Nathan's sister. Do you have a moment to talk? Emma's guard went up immediately. I'm working. I know. This will only take 5 minutes, please. It's important. They moved to a quiet corner of the hotel lobby. Rebecca was elegant, probably in her early 40s, with kind eyes that reminded Emma of Nathan. I'm not here to intimidate you, Rebecca said. Actually, I'm here to thank you. My brother has been different since meeting you. Happier, more like the person he used to be before all the success and disappointment changed him. He told you about me? He did. Nathan and I are close. We talk regularly. Rebecca's expression softened. He also told me about your concerns, about the difference in your backgrounds, and the media attention. I understand those fears, Emma. They're valid. Then why are you here? Because I want you to understand something about my brother. When he was married before, his wife only wanted his money and lifestyle. It destroyed him when he realized she never actually loved him as a person. He became cynical, guarded, built walls around his heart. Rebecca leaned forward. But with you, those walls came down. He talks about your dreams, your intelligence, your kindness, not your looks or what you can do for him. Do you understand how rare that is? Emma felt tears threatening. I'm not trying to hurt him, I know. But if you walk away because you think you're not good enough, or because you're afraid of judgment, you'll be hurting both of you. Rebecca squeezed Emma's hand. Don't let fear or other people's opinions steal your happiness. You deserve love, Emma. So does Nathan. After Rebecca left, Emma sat alone, processing everything. She thought about her mother's warnings, the cruel internet comments, her own insecurities. But she also thought about Nathan's laugh, the way he listened to her ideas. How safe she felt in his arms. That night she called him. I'm done being afraid, she said. I want to be with you. Really with you? No more hiding. Are you sure? Nathan's voice was filled with hope and concern. I'm sure. Life is too short to let fear make my decisions. Then come to my place tomorrow. Let's talk about our future. Together. Emma hung up feeling lighter than she had in weeks. She didn't know what the future held, but she was finally ready to stop running from it. The weeks following Emma's decision were transformative. She and Nathan stopped hiding their relationship, attending a few public events together. The media attention was intense at first, but gradually became background noise as they focused on building something real. Nathan met Emma's parents in Connecticut over Thanksgiving. The meeting was awkward initially, her mother clearly skeptical, and her father overly quiet. But Nathan's genuine interest in their lives, his willingness to help with yard work, and his respectful treatment of Emma slowly won them over. He's not what I expected, Emma's mother admitted privately. He seems like a good man. Just promise me you'll be careful with your heart, sweetheart. Emma also began meeting Nathan's business associates and friends. She felt out of place at first, surrounded by wealth and privilege she had never experienced. But Nathan never left her side, always introducing her proudly, never allowing anyone to make her feel less than equal. The deepening as December arrived and Emma's graduation approached. Their relationship deepened physically. Their kisses became more intense, more urgent. Emma felt desire she had never experienced before, but alongside it grew her anxiety about her secret. One evening at Nathan's penthouse, they were on the couch watching a movie when the kissing escalated. Nathan's hands moved to her waist, pulling her closer. Emma responded eagerly, but then suddenly pulled back, breathing hard. What's wrong? Nathan searched her face with concern. Did I do something? No, it's not you. Emma stood, walking to the window to put distance between them. It's me. There's something I need to tell you. Nathan waited patiently as Emma struggled to find words. I've never been with anyone before, she finally said, her back still to him. Not because of religious reasons or anything like that. I've just always focused on school and work. I never made time for relationships. And now I'm 24 and completely inexperienced. I don't know what I'm doing, and you've been with other people, and you probably think I'm weird or immature, or Emma. Nathan was behind her, his hands gentle on her shoulders. "Look at me," she turned, embarrassed tears streaming down her face. "There is nothing wrong with you," he said firmly. "Nothing weird or immature about your choices. You focused on building your future. That takes incredible discipline and strength. But you've been with other women. You must I think you're remarkable." He wiped her tears with his thumbs. "Emma, I've been with people where it meant nothing. Physical connection without emotional intimacy. With you, everything means something. Every touch, every kiss, every moment matters. That's what I want. You're not disappointed?" "Disappointed?" Nathan laughed softly. "Emma, I'm honored. Honored that you trust me enough to be vulnerable. That you're considering sharing that part of yourself with me." He pulled her into his arms. "We don't have to do anything until you're completely ready. And when that time comes, we'll take it slow. I promise." Emma buried her face in his chest, overwhelmed by relief and love. "How are you so perfect?" "I'm far from perfect. I'm just a man who loves you and wants you to feel safe with me." Emma's graduation was scheduled for mid-December. She successfully defended her thesis, receiving praise from her committee. Her sustainable housing project was selected for the school's annual showcase. Everything she had worked for was finally coming together. To celebrate, Nathan planned a special evening. He picked her up in his car, driving them not to a restaurant but to a private rooftop he had reserved. Fairy lights were strung overhead, creating a canopy of stars. A table was set for two with candles and flowers. Soft music played from hidden speakers. "Nathan, this is beautiful," Emma breathed, taking in the magical scene. "You deserve beautiful things," he said simply. "You've worked so hard, achieved so much. I wanted to celebrate you properly." They ate dinner under the stars, talking about her future plans. Several architecture firms had expressed interest in hiring her. Nathan never pressured her or tried to use his connections to influence her decisions. He simply listened and offered support. After dinner, they danced slowly to the music, wrapped in each other's arms. Emma felt safe, cherished, completely herself. "I love you," she whispered against his chest. "I love you too." More than I knew was possible. They kissed, and this time Emma didn't pull away. The kiss deepened, became more passionate. When they broke apart, both breathless, Emma looked into his gray eyes. "I'm ready," she said softly. "I want to be with you tonight." "Are you absolutely sure?" Nathan cupped her face. "There's no pressure, Emma. We can wait as long as you need." "I'm sure. I trust you completely." They left the rooftop and went to Nathan's penthouse. He led her to his bedroom, a space she had never entered before. It was surprisingly simple, elegant, but understated. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered city views, but Nathan drew the curtains, creating privacy. "We'll go at your pace," he said, sitting beside her on the bed. "If you want to stop at any point, just tell me." No explanations needed. Emma's heart raced as they began kissing again. Nathan was patient, attentive to every signal from her body. He removed her clothing slowly, reverently, making her feel beautiful rather than exposed. When she trembled with nervousness, he held her close, whispering reassurances. "You're amazing," he murmured against her skin. "So beautiful. I've got you." The experience was intense, sometimes awkward, occasionally uncomfortable, but ultimately profound. Nathan was gentle and patient, guiding her through new sensations while checking in constantly. When there was pain, he stopped immediately, holding her until she was ready to continue. Afterward, they lay tangled together, Emma's head on Nathan's chest as he stroked her hair. "Are you okay?" he asked softly. "Better than okay." Akima looked up at him. "That was perfect. You were perfect. We were perfect together." He kissed her forehead. "Thank you for trusting me with this. I don't take it lightly." They fell asleep, wrapped in each other, and for the first time in months, Emma felt completely at peace. The future Emma graduated 3 days before Christmas. Both her parents and Nathan attended the ceremony, sitting together and applauding loudly when her name was called. Seeing the two most important parts of her life coming together brought tears to her eyes. That evening, Nathan threw a small celebration at his penthouse. Emma's roommate Grace was there, along with Olivia from work, her parents, Nathan's sister, Rebecca, and a few close friends. It was intimate and warm, exactly what Emma wanted, as the party wound down and guests departed. Nathan pulled Emma aside. "I have something for you," he said. Handing her a small wrapped box. Inside was a delicate silver key. "It's a key to this place," Nathan explained. "I'm not asking you to move in necessarily, though. You're welcome to any time. But I want you to know you always have a place here. It's with me. This is your home, too, whenever you want it." Emma's eyes filled with tears. "Nathan, this is too much. It's not enough." He pulled her close. "Emma, I know we've only known each other a few months. I know some people will say we're moving too fast, but I've never been more certain of anything. I love you. I want to build a future with you." "I want that too," Emma whispered. "I'm still scared sometimes. Scared I'll wake up and this will be a dream. Scared I'm not enough for your world. You're not enough for my world. You're everything for my world." Nathan tilted her chin up. "My world was empty before you. Now it's full of meaning and joy and possibility. You did that, Emma, just by being yourself." They kissed as snow began falling outside the windows, dusting Manhattan in white. 6 months later, Emma accepted a position at a progressive architecture firm specializing in affordable housing design. She moved into Nathan's penthouse, though she kept her own workspace and independence. Their relationship continued to grow and deepen. The media attention never completely disappeared, but they learned to ignore it. Emma's parents gradually accepted Nathan, appreciating how he treated their daughter. Nathan's business partner became a friend to Emma, impressed by her intelligence and character. One evening in June, they were back on the rooftop where they had celebrated her graduation. The city sparkled below them as they slow danced under the stars. "Do you remember when we first met?" Nathan asked. "When you almost dropped that tray." "How could I forget? I thought my life was over. Instead, it was just beginning." "I knew then," Nathan said. "The moment I caught your arm, looked into your eyes, I knew you were going to change my life. I just didn't know how profoundly. I was terrified of you," Emma admitted. "You were this powerful, wealthy man from a different world. I never imagined we could work. And now I know that love doesn't care about different worlds. It creates its own world where two people can meet as equals." Emma smiled up at him. "You've taught me that I'm worthy of love, Nathan. That my background doesn't define my value. Value? And you've taught me what real love looks like. Not based on what someone can give me, but who they are." Nathan stopped dancing, reaching into his pocket. "Which is why I have something to ask you." He dropped to one knee, pulling out a small velvet box. Inside was a simple, elegant diamond ring. "Emma Hartley, you walked into my life and showed me what it means to truly connect with another person. You're my partner, my best friend, the love of my life. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down Emma's face as she nodded. "Yes, absolutely yes." He slipped the ring on her finger and stood, lifting her in his arms and spinning her around. They kissed as the city celebrated around them, millions of lights twinkling like stars. Emma thought about the girl she had been just months ago, working events and struggling to pay rent, afraid to take chances or trust in happiness. That girl had been brave enough to say yes to coffee with a stranger. That decision had changed everything as Nathan held her close. Emma understood that love wasn't about being from the same world or having the same experiences. It was about finding someone who saw your true self and loved you for it. Someone who made you braver, kinder, better. She had found that with Nathan, and together they would build a future that honored both their pasts while creating something entirely new. The story of the waitress, the billionaire, wasn't a fairy tale. It was something better. It was real.